want to thank Jack Hockett for being on with us. I know it's hard for him to do that, and that's tough. That's as tough as they get right there, folks. I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't get any harder than that interview right there. I can tell you.
You talked to him earlier today. He did want to come on and thank everybody that's gave them all the things that's happened here in the last couple of weeks, and we're real grateful for Jack for wanting to come on, and we are thankful that he is there, and we love him.
Yeah, we're thinking of you, Jack, and we're thinking of you, Tina, as well. Well, let's pick back up the show real quick here, and let's talk to a guy that, well, he got 2 wins this weekend. He's a solid winner up at I-96 Speedway and Cherry Raceway. Darren Long joins us. Hey, Darren, how you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing real good. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing okay. We're going to try to pick ourselves up off the floor here real quick, and you're a good guy to do that. What a great weekend of racing. Let's start off with Cherry Raceway, win number 1 this weekend.
Just one of those places we showed up, and right away I knew the track was going to be dry and slick, which definitely works better for our race car that Joe and Tim built themselves, and that's exactly what it turned out to be, and everything went real well the whole night. The pole draw worked in our favor all night. We started on the front row, and we just kind of rode around, and it was a pretty convincing win for us, so everyone was real happy, and we headed on down the road for the next night.
We're always glad when the pill draw works your way, aren't we?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
It's not, it's obviously it's always critical, but, when you're at the region level, it's not near as critical as it is when you're on the national series, because that's just, it's usually make or breaker in your night, the pill draw at the national races. You can still capitalize on it if your car's right and the driver gets the job done, but it just makes for an awful tough night. So, I was all smiles when we started on the front row.
Darren, we'll see you out on the national tour, and we'll see you this weekend out at Lake Ozark. But when you go race these regional events like the sprints on dirt, describe this particular region of racers and the competition that you were up against this past weekend up in Michigan.
Oh, I don't want to be too rough on the side guys, but it ain't, I'll be quite honest, it ain't nowhere near the level of competition the national level is. There's only like 14 or 15, I think there were 16 cars there Friday night, and there was like 24 there Saturday night. But there's those guys there, they're tough, that run the whole series every year, and they run those tracks all the time and whatnot. So, I'm not taking nothing away from them, but it ain't nowhere near the level of competition it is on the road. But I think them guys would be the first one to admit that, too. So, when you show up there, you go in with hopes of just having a good night and putting to use what you've learned out on the road as far as just the experience and the knowledge and how to get the car right and just driving a little more aggressively. So, when you go to run those regional races, the outcome that you want is exactly what we got this weekend, because, honestly, from my perspective, the guys that run the national level, when they show up at regionals, they should win the races if everything goes right. That doesn't mean you're going to every night, but, you should have the upper hand because you race more and you should have more experience and you should be more focused and ready to go.
I wanted to just ask a follow-up real quick, Kirk. I'm sorry. So when you go to a regional race, after running with the national tour guys, and I don't mean do the guys themselves that you're racing against slow down, but does it seem like things slow down a little bit more when you run with the regional guys compared to the national tour guys who are just on the gas, racing hard every lap, every corner? Do you notice where they might give up a little bit as the race goes on compared to the national tour guys?
Oh, yeah, big time. That's one of the first things me and Joe talked about after the race is, throughout my whole career, just running locally here at Lyman Eldor and everywhere, it's like that all the time, until you get to the national level, that, 10, 12, 15 laps into the feature, the guys will start slowing down. They might not even realize they are, but, if you're still on the gas, everyone else will just start slowing down. You're exactly right. At the national level, everyone's just flat out legging it for 30 laps. Whether the car's right, wrong, or indifferent, everyone's just gassing it. And everyone gasses it for 30 laps. And but you're exactly right. The regional level, about halfway through the race, the guys that might have started in front will just slowly but surely, they just start slowing down. I don't know why. I have no real reason why. Besides, they're just not driving as hard because they don't have to, is what it boils down to, I think.
They don't race against guys that stand on the gas the entire feature, and you get used to that on the national tour, and they don't see that enough. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of the It's one of the first things that Tim Norman, owner of XYZ Machining, he said. He goes, well, we go this weekend. Now, just remember, we're not running the national level, so, take it easy in the start of the heat race. I know I told you in the start of heat race at the national level, you got to be going. I mean, it's go time. But here, just, you can be a little more relaxed and pick and choose and don't get so creative. So you kind of got to slow yourself down, and then, when you get to the national level, you got to be ready to go again. So there's a big difference, honestly. And it's hard to explain to those guys that haven't went and done it, but I've learned it drastically over the last year and a half that the national level, the boys are on the hammer, and if you ain't, you better put her in the box.
Sprints on dirt is prevalent up in Michigan. How strong is sprint car racing in the state of Michigan in terms of the tracks that you run at I-96 Raceway, just that state of Michigan, in terms of numbers of sprint car racers you run against and the tracks involved?
I would say the numbers in Michigan have probably dwindled over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, in the early 2000s, probably from like 02 to 06, I would say their numbers really grew, because when I first started racing in 99 and first started going to them, they was getting, 18 to 20 cars, and in the mid-2000s there, they were getting, there's nights they were averaging 30, 32 cars a night. And it's fell back off a little bit now, economy or whatever you want to call it, but they'll probably average 19 to 20 cars, I would say, for the year. Then the tracks, most of the tracks are, they're drier and slicker because Michigan's got a lot of sand in it, so they kind of like going to East Bay. There's just less grip there in general. No matter if a track's wet or whatever, there's just less grip than there is pretty much anywhere else in the United States because of the sandy surface. But they have, they're just like any other state probably. They got the full gamut of, quarter miles. Hartford 996 are big half miles. They got like Crystal. It's got some bank to it. And then like Cherry was at this weekend was real flat. So they pretty much got, the full scale just like everybody else, but they just got a lot more sand than the racetracks, which makes for more conducive, slicker racing conditions.
Right. We never like to see sand in the track, really. Hey, Darren, we appreciate you being on the show. Look forward to seeing you down at Lake Ozark Speedway this weekend. It's going to be a good turnout of cars, I'm sure, down there.
Yeah, and can I say just one more thing?
You bet, bud.
Hey, you was just talking about Jack Hockett being on there, and I know what you just said there. That resembles Jesse himself, though, so obviously it comes from his dad because Jesse was a doer. He just did it, no matter what the costs were, Jesse did it, and I would say his dad coming on here tonight was very, very tough to do, but the reason he probably did it is because he's just like his son, and he's just a doer. So I just want to give my hats off to them guys and say we're still praying for the entire family.
Well said, Darren. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for being on the show. Good luck to you this weekend.
All right, thank you. Guys, have a good night.
All right, thank you. Darren Long, a double winner this past weekend, sprints on dirt up in Michigan, and